Welcome to Danny Houlihan's Irish Experience podcast. Join Danny on a journey through the historical island of Ireland, its people and the wild Atlantic Way, which is Ireland's last frontier. Experience the music and the culture that makes up the longest coastal driving route in the world. Now, please welcome your host, Danny Houlihan.
Couldn't fault a good Eastleigh on Atlantic Ian. Welcome everyone to the Wild Atlantic Way and Danny Houlihan's Irish Experience Show, which at this point has broken the 3,000 genuine downloads worldwide. It's some achievement without any support or funding from any local grant from any source whatsoever. It highlights what a local historian can achieve within a short space of time. I would like to especially thank all my listeners who tune in every month to my shows, and to all my new followers, welcome. I will be updating its format shortly and adding more places as time goes on, with more history. If you are listening to my show in a car, office, jogging, walking or meditating, please take care. I travelled out during the summer to another special place, inland from the Wild Atlantic Way route. Once more, a place steeped in history, heritage and local lore. A place worth visiting along the route of the mighty Wild Atlantic Way. A place in the ancient kingdom of Kerry, County Kerry. Kiltomy, just on the outskirts of Lixnaw, County Kerry Ireland. In the old barony of Clan Maurice. Kiltomy Graveyard is located within the old parish of Kiltomy in North Kerry, Ireland, and is located on the outskirts of Lixnaw, several kilometres from the market town of the Stole in North Kerry, Ireland. The graveyard is situated, I could best describe, within a relative flat landscape, and in the vicinity is the River Brick and the old canal in Lixnaw. Car parking facilities are provided to the south and southwest of the entrance, which makes it very easy to access. And I have to state, the place is very well kept, a tribute to the local community. During the process of this episode, I have consulted the records of monuments and places. The number for the site is KE015 056003, which contains the site of a church listed as KE015 05601, which no longer exists. There are monuments to the east of the site, such as a ring fort, thus indicating settlement during the Iron Age and early Christian period. Grid references if you visit the site at Kiltomy. Hugh 87908 29180. Latitude 524031. Longitude 9.6477. Approaching the historical graveyard from the main road, there is a fine car park. And when you get a chance, stop and explore this old graveyard, which contains many graves of its local people and that of the landed gentry, buried there within its historic confines. The graveyard of Kiltomy is well kept by the local people of the area, and it is a credit to them. The day I visited Kiltomy, it was a fine day with blue skies, as I walked through the gate of the graveyard, which is marked in two large gates at its entrance with the name Kiltomy on it. I experienced a sense of peace that prevails here, with its high cut stone tombs to my right and left, built in the late 1800s, other graves of an earlier period too. It is a very peaceful place, elevated above the landscape, as I stated, with the views of the countryside all around. There are no trees around this early site now, but one could just imagine the dense belt of trees surrounding the old pre-Christian site of Poma and later Drumagian, which has been said was there 5 years after the death of St. Brendan. What I was looking for was any evidence of ruins of a former church or abbey that was there. Sure enough, around me were fashioned stones by a bygone mason. And there in the centre, near some tombs on an elevated part of the graveyard, was a number of foundations. Was this the ruins of the church or abbey that the eminent historian John O'Donovan mentions in his report of the day? I could not find any date on any stones, but probably they're buried in the grass. One could say, walking on history all around, but it's preserved in the soils of Kiltomy. In the course of research for this episode, I consulted the following Ordnance Survey maps. The first was Sheet 1 edition 1846 map 015, which one can see the graveyard and within its confines the ruins of a long church of Kiltomy. At that stage, there was some tree cover surrounding the site. I looked at the 1898 Ordnance Survey map, 2nd edition, 01508. In it, the church is mentioned, but there is no tree cover around the graveyard site. All were cut down at that stage. Within the graveyard site, I looked around me. There were several interesting items still left to this day, which could be seen. 2 cut stone slabs with skulls and crossbones, with old inscriptions on them. Another was a singular stone with a dove. And the third, a section which appears to be from an altar section or mass stone. Who was the bygone stonemasons that carved these scenes in stone way back in antiquity? Are they any ancestors still here? Or are they in America, Australia, or some other destination unknown? John O'Donovan, historian and scholar, visited Kiltomy in the year of 1841 and mentions the church and that of Bishop Thoma. Quote, "In the Irish, Kiltoma means the church of St. Thoma, whose name is set down in the Irish calendar of the 22nd of April. Another name for the site was Kiltomy, the church of the tumulus or mound. The parish church was built according to a tablet inserted in the south wall near the southeast corner in the year of 1623. It is 58 feet in length and 21 foot in breadth, and its walls are of 2 foot 3 inches thickness and built of small stones in a very rude style." Unquote. Again, like other places I have visited during the course of my podcast series, this was another early Christian site, indeed back to the time of the early church and the old cool days or Cayley days, now long since forgotten. Part of our culture, a part of our history. A school report, which was carried out in the 60s on the graveyard of Kiltomy, gives us but a taste of the area, and this will be of interest to anyone from the Kiltomy and Lixnaw area whose ancestors are now abroad. Quote, "In the centre of the graveyard is a mound of grass, surmounted by 4 flat slabs of stone. The mass stone itself, on these flat stones, which are inscribed with skulls and crossbones. On one of the stones is written, Memento Mortem. Close to the mass stone is another stone, on which is engraved 2 chalices and a head. In the corner of the graveyard are heaps of stones, which are supposed to be the remains of a church." Unquote. One of the most interesting parts of this history, which is invaluable to all, is that it mentions the early burials and location of the burial place of the Lords of Kerry Lixnaw, which I'll deal with in depth in another episode. The history goes on to relate, quote, "There is a vault in Kiltomy, supposed to be the burial place of the Lords of Kerry, but it is now the burial place of the Goodmans of Ballyhorgan." Unquote. I hope you've enjoyed our short visit to Kiltomy, just on the outskirts of Lixnaw, County Kerry Ireland. This is just but a taste of the history, and I mean it, folks, because the amount of history in Lixnaw and Kiltomy, I could go on for hours. So when you're in Ireland, why not pay a visit to this special place and experience its past and history? I enjoyed it. Kiltomy is a very special place indeed. Lixnaw is a lovely place, and why not stop there? It is a must on your visit to Ireland, and her past, Lixnaw, shines out amongst many places in Ireland. A special place. Anytime I've been in Lixnaw, I've always been afforded hospitality and a welcome. Anytime I brought my bagpipes over there, and I played one time there for the Houlihan Festival. Lovely people, kind and always generous. I will be back to Lixnaw again in another episode. Many people have asked me why in the series I seek out these special places. The reason is, there were and still are special places of our early sites in Ireland. Some are forgotten by the well-defined tourist spots, which is fine, but my experience explores the hidden places and what's left to see and experience in our beautiful part of North Kerry and indeed the countryside of Ireland. I now take my leave of you all from this historical place in North Kerry called Kiltomy. I will be back again to Lixnaw again, as I've said before, to add and update all my podcasts. Don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page, EcoTrek Ballybunion, and on my YouTube channel, Danny Houlihan. Please like and subscribe. Last but not least, a shout out from my studio to you all. To all my friends to date who are taking time to listen to my series each month. In the United States of America, my listeners are tuning in from Washington, Carolina North and South, New Mexico, Florida, Illinois, Minnesota, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Maine, and others, just to mention a few. All Irish centres with connections with Ireland. Canada, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Miramichi, Newcastle, New Brunswick. Australia, South Australia, Victoria, and New Zealand. Italy as well, and Germany. Not forgetting Ireland, England, and the United Arab Emirates. Thanks once again from the banks of the mighty Shannon, from the studio of Wallafwinanaun, Winan the Shunana, County Kerry, and my research centre. Thanks for joining me on my Irish experience. All the best for now. Slán. Bye.
Thanks for listening to our show. Through its people, its heritage, and its rugged coastline, this is truly Danny Houlihan's Irish experience. Bye for now.